Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat's Let's Play That. Now, for whatever reason, I've never actually gotten around to playing the World Heroes series. Now, I play a lot of Neo Geo fighting games, familiar with King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, Grow Mark of the Wolves, Double Dragon, if you twist my arm, you know, the good ones. But I've never actually played World Hero. I've played Blazing Blazers or whatever. It is the worst Street Fighter 2 ripoff I've ever heard of. Don't touch it. Although it is really weird because there's this like Frenchman who makes all these weird noises like yeah, wah, wah, whatcha? And so maybe it's worth booting up just to hear that. I'll tell you right here now it's not. But anyway, World Heroes I've always regarded as one of the more knockoffy Neo Geo fighting games. But hey, we got the first one booted up. Let's give it a go. Let's see if this is actually what I think it is. There we go. You came at a good time. Use the time machine to go all over the world where the strong people are. I'm praying for a healthy battle. Isn't this the one where you can like kill your opponents? Or is that only a special game mode where you kill your opponents? That doesn't exactly sound like a healthy competition to me. Also, isn't this the one with Brocken? The Nazi? I mean, again, you have to realize, it's like from Japan's perspective, it's like Nazis aren't quite what they were from the Western perspective, but it's still kind of funny. They just included Nazi in their game. Well, now that I think about it, Street Fighter 2, like, you had M. Bison, who was basically a Nazi in everything but name, although he was billed as a Thai dictator, so maybe that's not necessarily so bad. Alright. Oh, well, obviously we could go normal, or we could go for a death match. So let's go for the death match. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I'm from Japan, and I'm going to Jay Karn's place of business. Alright, the controls are, I mean, it's a Neo Geo game. It's 4 buttons. You haven't picked up on that by now? Then maybe you should go back to Fighting Game School 101. Honestly, if you've never played a Neo Geo game, then you really should. Because, I mean, that's... okay, the last time I pressed this button, it was throw. Yeah! Yeah! The generic person's on fire sprite that's been in every fighting game since, like, Street Fighter 2. Although I gotta give this game props, it's not as bone-chillingly difficult as Street Fighter 2 is. So I guess it's like a typical Neo Geo fighting game in that it'll let you meander your way through the first 2 stages with no real resistance, and then the 3rd stage it's like, hey, gotta make a living, and that's when things really get serious. Well, not really get serious, but more serious than they were previously. Never mind, when I was talking about that, I guess I meant round 2, because apparently this guy is putting up a fight now. Although I love that you have a dedicated throw button. A lot of games like the King of Fighters series, it's like, yeah, if you press hard attack while you're walking into them, you can throw them. Which, honestly, is pretty dumb. That's not something I plan to do all the time or anything. But it's like this, it's like, oh yeah, I just jumped. Oh, did I actually kill him? Oh my. I'm sorry. I'll write your ancestors a letter, though, so they'll know what a brave and enticing warrior you were. He doesn't really look like he could understand the words that you're saying. Oh, my fighting against Ryu? I mean, sorry, Hanzo. Oh yeah, see, they're ninjas, not Shotokan warriors. Completely different things. I guess technically they are, but... Is this one of those games where, depending on how heavy you hit the button, then, you do different damage? Oh, I've already found the Ryu combo. Okay, there were no strong kicks or nothing. I guess I could have been paying attention to the intro screen, but too busy talking over it. Zappity yap. Ooh, that looks like it hurts. I like how it's slowed down there too. It's just kind of emphasizing. It's like, hey, you're so bad at this game, you might have just gotten your character killed. And it's like, okay, fine. Okay. Well, let it be known that I at least made it to round 2 of the game before I started losing. Oh, that's kind of neat. Oh my gosh, what are these controls? So I'm used to the King of Fighters 4 buttons, like weak, strong, punch, kick, but Val wants discipline. Get to the gym. If I didn't know they were probably referencing something from that Ryu said, then I would be more disappointed. So, let's see. Oh, I guess, oh no. Oh, are we starting over from round 1?
Round 1, fight.
No, I think we're continuing from where we were. Oh, neat. Okay. So this guy did not bring any weapons at all to the fight because he is a weapon. Take my Leet Jeet Kundo. To this day, I still don't know if that's actually the real thing or just something that, Shining Force, Shining Soul? No. Shining in the Darkness? It's not. Spirit Force? What was the manga? It was in Shonen Jump. I had it when I was a kid. Spirit Battle? Spirit Fight? Man, that's the downside of all these generically named shonen mangas. It's like you're trying to remember which one it is, and it's like you're never gonna tell. Shonen Spirit? No. Spirit Shonens? No. Spirit Quest? Spirit Fight? This is gonna dog me to the end of my days. But anyway, the guy, he had the zombie, and it was like reincarnated Bruce Lee or something. Okay, we're not getting anywhere very fast, but I guess we got a system. Let's go through, see who can take on Hanzo. Is it Jane? Which is interesting because in Samurai Showdown she was called Charlotte. Wow, so she gets a sword, which you might think that's not fair. Don't make that mistake. She has the shortest sword. I mean, sorry, she has the longest knife I have ever seen. And so she just kind of goes in. You know, these blocks should be a lot more bloody if you... Yeah, he shouldn't be able to block all this stuff with his hands. I mean, it is a knife after all. Then again, if your swordplay is so weak that your opponent can just, like, knock it away with their bare hands, it's like, that's not great. So there are special moves in this game. I am fairly certain that's true. But I don't know, I just can't quite seem to get them. Or maybe she's like a charge character or some nonsense. But, oh my gosh. Well, it's a charge machine because it's charging me to play. Yeah, no, there's nothing I can do. That Hanzo guy, he's got things figured out. I'm gonna see all of Hanzo's you lost quotes. Wait, what is this guy's flag? Is it Mongolia or something? Oh, maybe it is.
Round 1, fight.
Also, yeah, I mean, these people are evidently from previous time periods, although, honestly, it's kind of like Samurai Showdown, where they feel somewhat incongruous, but technically they could all come from the same time. But then, like, it doesn't even tell you when in time each person was from. That'd be an interesting touch if by punching them, then you also, like, electrocuted yourself. Wow, this guy is, like, made straight for me. He has jump kicks galore, and his down kick. Did you see how much damage I did? A satisfying amount. So, if you could keep up the momentum and win round 2, I would be so grateful. Whoa! Yeah. Hey, sometimes you need to be cheap if you want to win. Hey! Sometimes you win because you were playing cheap enough. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I thought I'd have to cycle through all the rest of them, and I'd lose, and that would be that. But no, looks like we're going to... Hero. I am the true hero. It's funny he says that, because he's the cheapest guy in the game. Alright, now light attack should not be the way to go, but... Oh my gosh. Well, if there's anything I know about anything about fighting games, low attacks are where things are at. You know, now that it kind of occurs to me, why didn't he sculpt it to make it look like himself? That seems like kind of a wasted bit of potential. Alright, Rasputin. Rasputin. You gotta reference it, man. It's an iconic song, it's an iconic guy. I don't have a gun, so I'll take you out the old-fashioned way. He does the Cossack dance. That's so terrible. Yeah, I mean, Zangief is a pretty weak Russian character. Like, okay, no words, no words. Also, why are we in the same electrified dome? At least we were in a fire dome last time. But anyway, I've always thought Zangief was kind of a weak Russian character. I mean, yeah, I guess he's technically Russian. It's not like everybody has to be stereotyped. But I love Rasputin because it's like, you know exactly what it is they're going for. Jay Karn, I don't know. Jane, it's like, is it supposed to be Joan of Arc? But then you get to Rasputin and it's like, I got you. It's Rasputin. It's like I always imagined him if he had psychic powers and was in a fighting game. Also, why is he wearing a robe? He's like wearing a boxing robe. Rasputin's like, I've taken up a new hobby in the afterlife. Hitting people. Alright, it's time for... They don't tell you the name, huh? They just kind of show you muscle power. It's time for muscle power. AKA... the Hulk? No. Stone Cold Steve Austin? Stone Cold Steve Austin the Hulk? Honest, is it Hulk? Hulk WrestleMania? The Rock. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I got my epitomes of manliness mixed up. It is The Rock. You know, I'm beginning to think it resets the rounds every time, and that's why it's a new easy person every time. But of course, when I was playing as Knife Chick, then like, I'm gonna lose. Because, I don't know, if your only advantage is the fact that you brought a weapon, but not even like a good weapon, you just have a weapon. And then it's like the game just kind of against you. It's like, yeah, you technically cheated. Of course, look at Rasputin. He is a weapon, and not in the same way that Bruce Lee guy is. No, like this guy has legit psycho powers. Like, Rasputin is the... I mean, that did more damage to him than I did this entire round. So I can't laugh too much. Rasputin is his own worst enemy. Strangely true to life, though. But it's like, not he's his own weapon in the same way that Bruce Lee guy was. No, Rasputin is the fourth character in Psycho Raid. Psy-Raid? Esparade. Wow, I am just I am like 0 for 3 on references today. I mean, I got it eventually, but like, the whole point of a reference is that you can just belt it out. It's like wham bam. You ever see Family Guy? You may debate on the humor value, but you can't debate on the fluidity of the references. Like, if you're familiar with pop culture from the 80s, it's like you watch any episode of Family Guy and they just belt him out, and you're like, oh man, thanks for the crash course in the 80s. Of course, it doesn't mean a whole lot, and it's not necessarily funny, but it's kind of interesting. Oh, I see. So this whole game is about combos, with a bunch of characters that don't really combo. Great. Well, you gotta admit, losing to Rasputin is a lot more interesting than losing to Ryu. Oh boy, rockin'. Yep. You ever wanted to play in the villain as a game? Well, here we are. Of course, the fact that I'm fighting Rasputin is strangely apropos. Now I guess the question is, did this game come out before or after JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I'm gonna say after. Whoa! Did you see that? He has a cheap projectile attack, which is the perfect counter to Rasputin's super cheap weapons, psychic weapons and junk. Oh, I guess Rasputin had a distance attack too, but apparently he was just being too noble to ever use it against me. Rasputin's like, I'm sorry, I have a shred of dignity. I mean, you don't, but I do. And it's like, you know what? Rasputin has more dignity than you do. Yeah, you just give up and turn yourself into a cyborg, because it's all about winning anyway. Results justify the results, right? Oh, there is an oil slick. I guess that is the death part of the death match. Yeah, take a missile to the mouth. Oh, jeez. Rasputin is just, like, punishing me. I love this guy. He's like Robot Dulcin M. Blanca or whatever. Fire! It's like the most lackluster shoot 'em up voicing I've ever heard. No, yes! One with my favorite move. Low kick, cheap kick. Say what you will, but Brocken is rockin'. someday in a million years, watch your mouth, because these guys have access to time machines. Oh, speaking of time machines, our time on this stage is limited because there are frigging mines everywhere. Who needs stage hazards? Brocken is a stage hazard. Oh man. Oh man. I have just cornered this poor man. I am so sorry for not beating you faster. Okay, wow. You are seriously annoying me. Oh, jeez. How the tables have turned. Oh, and that's almost a wrap. But there's one more round for me to embarrass myself with this character. Although I will say this is a lot better than that Korean fighting game for the Neo Geo we played recently. I forget what the name was, but I do think it was like the Korean front of SNK just trying to make a Neo Geo game on the sly, which doesn't make any sense because it's not like Nintendo where they only let developers make a certain amount. And if it was like Nintendo, I mean, obviously SNK, the people who made the Neo Geo, were going to let themselves publish all they want for the Neo Geo. But anyway, that game, it was like Street Fighter 2, but it was like Street Fighter 2 in that it was like super ultra cheap. But this game tones it down on the cheapness. It brings it down to an acceptable level of cheap. I mean, again, if you're a game inspired by Street Fighter 2, you cannot completely avoid the whole cheap thing. But I mean, like, there's part of it where like it's just overwhelmingly cheap. But then there's part of it where it's like, okay, I can accept this. This is an acceptable level of cheap. It's like, yeah, the opponent's gonna beat me, but I also get the sense that things will sway the other way, and then I'll beat them. The opponent will beat me 2 out of the 3 times, but I at least got a few licks in. Although, I do kind of love that game where, like, you get, like, one hit in, and it's like, it just goes absolutely crazy on you. It's like, okay, you think you can win 1 round? Take 5! And then they just go crazy on you and beat you all the rest of the rounds, and you're like, geez, why do I even try? Oh, Fuma. What is he, like, removing off of his eyes? Is it like a visor of some sort? Yeah, well, I kind of feel like this channels the whole, like, kid aspect of, oh gosh, I wouldn't want to be them fighting. Oh, I thought for a second there I was throwing him, but no. Ooh. Now, why wasn't he this good when I played his? Oh, wow. Brocken. He's always got tricks up his sleeves. How does this guy, like, I feel like, I mean, on one hand, I don't understand all of his rules, but again, that's kind of par for the course for a fighting game. But I feel like there's constantly gold. I just keep digging and digging and digging. It's like, Brocken, what do you got for me next? Brocken, what do you got for me next? And he just delivers every single time. Like that Sonic uppercut thing. It's like, you are just rocking my world, Brocken. Of course, this whole getting rush comboed by Hazuma, or whatever his name is, Fuma, I think, that I am less a fan of. Bam! Fire! So it does seem like combos are the order of the day, but it does seem like you can kind of do some mix-ups, like you can do high punch, low punch, and you can do everything in weak punches, just in case Street Fighter 2 kind of rubbed off on you that, hey, there's a medium punch, there's a heavy punch, but it's like, nope, that is a total illusion. Well, let's take Rasputin's powers into our own giant psychic hands. Yeah, honestly, Rasputin seems like one of the cooler characters in this entire game, but I don't see him on Salty Bed ever, so maybe he's not that cool. Wow, Rasputin is less cool than he might lead you to believe. Oh my gosh. Well, 0 to death, that's maybe not so unprecedented, but... Dude, why are you so slow? I'm used to Brocken's, like, perfect maneuverability and usability. How was I throwing people with that button before? Okay. Yeah, Rasputin seems more like a slow-paced counter kind of character, but I am not a slow-paced countering kind of fighter. Although I seem to be doing just fine. No. The opponent and his firm grasp of the special moves of the game, win out. So if you ever do a passion versus skill grudge match, skill's probably gonna win. Skill is fairly important. Alright, we'll end off the day. Now this guy is Ryu. He's a very honorable guy. He would not participate in a death match. What are you talking about? Who monkeys? Why was I bothering with the death match? It seems like those stages were so boring and monotone. I mean, granted, the giant flames in the background were pretty cool, but wow. Okay, so it does keep track of how far I am in the game, because these opponents, now they have a firm grasp of special moves. Oh, okay. So you gotta do a Hadouken, but it's kind of delayed. Like, King of Fighters does the Hadouken, or sorry, the Shoryuken move, where you can just literally just input them. It's like front, down, down, forward, as fast as you can, and you can do whatever you want. But Street Fighter, I think you have to kind of emphasize the forward. Like, they don't want you to just be completely invincible while you do it. Whereas King of Fighters is more just like, do whatever you want, kid. There's like 50 characters to choose from. Just make your ultimate team. Make a dream team. It's the ultimate match. And Street Fighter is like, okay, we're going to have fun, but we're going to have very specially regimented fun. We're going to have fun in such a way that Ryu himself would approve. Oh yeah, I'm kind of amazed that he didn't exploit that. That's what you get for having a repetitive strategy. It gets beat out by my superior, albeit repetitive strategy. Also, those are some fine-looking mountains in the background. These Neo Geo people, they really know how to make a background look cool. And just in case you're wondering at home, folks, why don't I just use projectile attacks? It's because your opponent labels you the cheapest of cheaters, and they just, like, jump and smash kick you. Well, maybe if you wonder why I always jump kick people, it's because it's the ultimate counter against Hadoukens. Maybe I was traumatized as a kid. One of my friends they only knew one move in Street Fighter, and it was Hadouken, Hadouken. And so I had to take some drastic matters into my own hands. Make like a bonsai and leave. It's funny, because I think that's the first victory quote from Funa I've seen this whole game. Alright, gotta be quick. Okay. Fairly standard name entry screen, no surprises. We got Cat in there with no problem. Now let's see if it's one of those greedy arcade games that wants me to play again. I think it is. So let's reset so we can enjoy that intro screen. Huh. So that was World Heroes. It was not as bad as I might have imagined. It's not quite good enough to dethrone all of my other favorites in the game. Rage of the Dragons, I think. That's what the Double Dragon fighting game is actually called. Rage of the Dragons. It's actually pretty cool. It's not like a good fighting game, but it's really cool. And then you've got Matra Melee, made by the same people as Rage of the Dragons. So it too is also kind of cool, I guess. In as much as a game that has like people with dog masks in it. That's right, it's not just one character with a dog mask, it is multiple characters with a dog mask. I don't know what their problem is. There are also multiple old granny fighters, and it's like, geez. No, I mean, the whole game is kind of set up where it's like, you got these two warring families a la Romeo and Juliet, and then their two young heirs, a guy and a girl, are planning on getting married. And so the whole battle is like, everybody brought their extended family, and it led to a giant brawl. Matra Melee, not a bad game. Not a good game, but not a bad game. It's definitely interesting. It's kind of nice to see what fighting games look like away from SNK's main stable. It's not exactly pleasant, and frankly I prefer it, but it's still. Oh, I see. This guy has all of the moves you would expect your, No, it's not Hanfu. He's like Fei Lu or something. He's the guy from Street Fighter 2, the Bruce Lee guy. He's got all the same moves. Although I don't know if he has the 3 combo quarter circle forward punch combo. What other fighting games were there for the Neo Geo? Was there a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting game? Maybe I'll play that one of these days. But World Heroes, well, not my favorite, but not the worst. Yeah, that like Blazers or whatever, Bracers or something. That game that I was talking about, There were 2 of them for the Neo Geo. Like, that is the most terrible game series. And there are 2 of them. And the second one isn't really any better than the first. Now, World Heroes, there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a perfect... Oh, hey, did you see that? My name was on the score, even though I reset the cabinet. And that's how you know you're in the Neo Geo quality progress, when it can actually save your scores. Although I feel like that only works half the time, a Neo Geo cabinet saving your scores. But yeah, there's World Heroes 1, 2, Perfect, Jet? There's World Heroes 2 Jet or something? I mean, again, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, so who are they to laugh, but still Jet? It's like, yeah, I like Street Fighter or World Heroes 2 Helicopter the best. No, man, Jet is where it's at. Dude, did you hear about Stealth Bomber? No way, man, that's imaginary. If you enter a cheat code, you can upgrade Jet to Stealth Bomber. Well, maybe I'll look up on the internet and see if that rumor is in any way founded. Spoilers where it's not, but on that note, this cat's got a scat.